Hey, I wanted to do, I've actually been working on this manuscript called Confessions of a Limousine Mystic for many years, and I don't know if I'm ever going to wind up getting into a book, so I wanted to be able to read some excerpts to people about that, because I just like, it's a really neat experience, and I want to share it to you. So I'm going to read you a little bit of excerpt right now, okay? And this is talking about a particular chauffeur and the many chauffeurs that I met. Sometimes you come across a chauffeur that epitomizes the soul of a chauffeur. Somebody with style and the sometimes maddening penchant for self-destruction. A rakish type, a serial nice guy who would peel off the last Lincoln and share his food. And Lincoln, by the way, is a $5 bill. Mikey was that type, a legendary chauffeur with crazy skills as a driver, a workhorse, and a pantomiming self-parody of himself all in one. I remember Mikey taught me to always give a tip to the people who worked the parking booths at the airports. Give them a tip, he told me, even if it's $1, and let your clients see it. He was the consummate setup guy, underrated, chronically positive to people and genuine. He had a penchant for getting tips from even tight-fisted corporate wads. Somehow Mikey loved to do the airporters. I never did. Those are transfers to and from the airport where you hold up the sign, and he never complained about them. And he had this infectious enthusiasm that rarely tanked. I remember a classic scene of Mikey practicing ballroom dancing with his girlfriend in the parking lot where we worked. He was apparently also a dance instructor. Mikey was not what one would generally think of as fat, though he had some girth to him, and he liked to wear his clothes kind of tight. He had this big bumper with a big Cadillac seat in the rear, but somehow he pulled it off like he was tight. Interesting visual, right? He did have this graceful moves to him, and he was fluid. We got to start calling him Dancing Bear, and he and his Asian girlfriend, who liked to stop by his work, could be found spinning those moves. Mikey built his reputation in the limo business as one of those guys that would never turn down a run. In the beginning, he was the darling of the dispatchers. He would not take a day off and probably believed that he could maximize his earnings by sheer output. To me, that was kind of crazy, okay? It's a sad indictment of the limo business sometimes, but nobody would stop you if you wanted to work all morning, all day, and all night. Mikey was a true believer in that school, even if it meant sacrificing his body and more. Strange thinking, but hardly uncommon with some drivers. He had that bizarre relationship with his girlfriend, who was a constant fixture at work. Though in fairness, he had no car, so she was always picking him up. She would call and check in with him incessantly, always wondering if Mikey was with another woman. She even had her doubts when Mikey drove female clients, so Mikey had to constantly assuage her and reassure her. He was one of those guys that was always on the phone saying to his girlfriend, "I love you, baby," and "Hi, honey." He used to say to us on the side, "She's a little insecure and kind of jealous." I guess, that's what I used to think. Later we would learn Mikey met her while he was teaching as a dance instructor. So she probably glimpsed firsthand some of his efforts as a womanizer, though more likely his skills were as a charmer first. In the limo business, you can quickly tumble from being a favorite son to finding yourself lost, as we used to call it in a quick way. At one company, we used to call the sudden absence of an employee as going redboard. We use this term to refer to the fact that the jobs or the contracts that were assigned to the chauffeur were posted on a clipboard below your name and a Polaroid picture of you, as if somebody had to remember what you look like. Anonymous glory, I guess, right? When something happened and you were not there anymore, your picture was not there, they just took your name and your picture down, and all that was left in the space where you used to exist was this red background and a large board. There were quite a few disappearances as they happened suddenly and surprisingly, quite low-key, without a mention. And that's what we talk about, going redboard. So this is a little bit of my insight into the life of a limousine mystic. In the future, I'm going to go into more stories and more explorations and more insights. And that was kind of a practical spin, but a lot of times I had mystical, spiritual kind of insights about life, and that's why I call it Confessions of a Limousine Mystic. So I hope you enjoyed this first segment on Confessions of a Limousine Mystic with Sir Ron, Part 1. Thank you.